So it's been officially announced that Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte will have their rematch on the 12th of August at the O2 Arena in London. Hardly a surprise, I think it's fair to say. It'll also be taking place on DAZN pay-per-view. Also hardly a surprise. This has been spoken about for a while. It was always in the plan for Joshua and he's come back to fight in the spring, fight in the summer, fight in December. And the spring and summer fights were usually centered around the opponent being white. And this is what we have. So I don't know why you can really be surprised by this. The reception to this fight, from what I've seen in the past few minutes, is, I don't want to say flat. I just want to say subpar. So yeah, I guess it's kind of flat. A lot of people seem to be disappointed and frustrated by this. I maybe get the people who are disappointed by the fact that it's on DAZN, pay-per-view rather, because yeah, like you're a DAZN subscriber, you've kind of locked yourself in for however long, and you expect to get that content, but you're having to shell out extra. I understand that to some degree. Ultimately, though, I will just say it's your money. You're not forced into buying it. If you don't deem this to be a pay-per-view worthy event, just don't pay for it. It's pay-per-view, like you're not obliged to. But then I guess if you kind of see it as middle of the road, you want to watch it, but you don't want to pay, hey, look, just find other means. I'm not even entirely sure if I'm going to buy this fight, but I accept it. And I think objectively and subjectively, I don't mind this fight. Objectively, because I understand where both guys are in their career, or their careers. Both guys are coming off of wins against Jermaine Franklin, who, look, is not necessarily a world beater, but I think in his 2 step-ups against these guys has proven himself to be a decent fighter. But then before their respective Franklin fights, Joshua lost twice on the trot to Usyk, and Dillian Whyte got completely flattened and sparked out by Tyson Fury. So both guys are looking to get some kind of form, some momentum back, really salvaging and trying to preserve their careers as best they can. So I feel like it's only natural that they really fight each other. And, I wanted to pick up on something, a little tangent that Hatman picked up on. And I 100% agree with what he said. There's this notion that this narrative that many people are running with these days, where they're just tarring the entire heavyweight division with the same brush of disappointment and criticism. And don't get me wrong, there have been some frustrating developments in the heavyweight division for for a few months now. But the majority of those frustrating developments have been at the hands of one person. You know who it is. It's Tyson Fury. Other than that, all the top fighters are really doing what they're supposed to. If we look at Deontay Wilder, and Hatman picked up on this as well, he's maybe the only one who's still getting up to some shenanigans other than Fury, where he's not entirely keen on the Ruiz fight and he's talking a bit of rubbish. But he's still lined up to fight Joshua in December. 2 former champions squaring off. Joshua himself, retrospectively, I think people have to give him a bit more respect because he was willing to fight Alexander Usyk twice in a row, whereas Tyson Fury clearly isn't willing to do that, at least now. Joshua lost twice, in against Franklin, now Whyte, and then after Whyte, looking to go in against one of the biggest punchers in the division, probably the biggest puncher in the division in Deontay Wilder. You got to give him credit for that. Alexander Usyk, the other champion, he is taking on a mandatory in Daniel Dubois, a young up-and-comer who, maybe isn't a world beater, but he's an not unbeaten, but he's only lost once to Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is tied up with Zhilei Zhang. So all these other guys, Whyte is in a similar boat to Joshua. All these other guys are doing really what they have to do. But Tyson Fury, nowhere to be seen. He's just talking rubbish from the sidelines. But anyway, I say that in the context of this fight happening. Subjectively, this fight gives me a little bit of nostalgia because I can remember quite vividly the first fight in 2015, the lead up and the fight itself. And those were great times. And yeah, this is biased because I'm kind of looking back with rose tinted glasses, but I enjoyed it then. In 2015, the build up to this fight, the build up to the first fight and the fight actually happening. And I look back and I enjoy it just as much. And so this does kind of take me back a little bit to like the earlier days of British heavyweight boxing when Joshua and Whyte were on the come up, Tyson Fury was at world level. Those were exciting times. And this does kind of give me a little bit of a flashback. So that's the kind of subjective bias side. It is subjective, it is bias. I'm not even going to try and hide it. Doesn't necessarily mean that this fight is going to be great, but then we factor in the objective side that I've already covered. This is really an acceptable fight, in my opinion, for both guys, especially for Joshua, given the prospect of him taking on Wilder in December or maybe early next year. So yeah, I can't really grumble at this, to be honest. If you don't like it, don't pay. You know, it's really that simple. Vote with your pocket. There is the potential that this fight has a really good undercard. I guess we just have to wait and see. Hopefully it does, because it seems like something that they could make a real good event of, just like the first fight. They had a really good undercard. I remember Chris Eubank Jr. fought Spike O'Sullivan. That was a great fight. That was a wicked fight. Kevin Mitchell took on Ismael Barroso and got taken out. That was a little bit of an upset just because Barroso was unknown. I want to say Tony Bellew took on Masternak, although that wasn't really a great fight. But that was a good, solid undercard. The first Joshua Whyte fight, in my opinion, that was a pay-per-view worthy event. And I think that was back in the days when pay-per-views were like $15.99. Yeah, I might be misremembering. I'm pretty sure that was the price. So a bit cheaper now, a bit cheaper than now. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this fight. I am picking Joshua to beat Whyte quite handily. I think, yeah, Joshua's maybe not at his best right. No, he's not at his best right now, but there is a potential that he could probably get back more form. And I don't know, the future for Joshua is uncertain, but I suspect that he's still got a little bit more to give. Whyte, on the other hand, I think that this would be his last big hurrah, in all honesty. I could be wrong, but I just think Joshua's got more, and I think he's improved more. Whyte has improved massively, but I think Joshua's improved just that bit more, and he'll probably make it count on the night. Although, maybe Joshua's mental fragilities will just haunt him for the rest of his career. And the kind of tenacious character that Whyte is enough. Even though his chin's a bit shaky, he's looking quite shot-worn. Maybe it's enough to get a professional victory over Joshua. We'll wait and see. But those, in a roundabout way, are my scattered thoughts on this fight. I think it's acceptable given the context, and even subjectively, you know, if you don't want to accept that, that's fine, but I'm just being honest. I don't mind it either way. It's to be expected, and here it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below on this fight. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Are you in the middle? Leave it down there and I'll get back to you. But for now, thanks for listening. I'll catch you in the next video.